was 17, my family moved 2 states away without telling me. They left a note that said, "You'll figure it out." 12 years later, after I finally made it without them, they reached out trying to reconnect. Said she'd never forgive herself if something happened to Lily. Michael put his arms around them both, looking more determined than I'd ever seen him. Marcus arrived 20 minutes later with 2 police officers. They took our statements, looked at the text, made some calls, said they'd send a patrol car to the friend's house to check things out, said they'd try to trace the number, said they'd increase patrols around my building. All the right things, but I could tell they didn't fully get how dangerous my parents could be, how unpredictable, how desperate. After the police left, we sat in my living room trying to figure out next steps. Jenny suggested going to a hotel under different names. Michael thought we should drive to his cousin's house a few states away. I just sat there getting angrier by the minute. This was bullcrap. We'd done everything right, followed all the legal channels, got our restraining orders, and they were still terrorizing us, still controlling our lives through fear. I stood up suddenly. "I'm done running," I said. "Done hiding. Done letting them dictate how I live my life. They've already stolen my childhood. I'm not giving them my adulthood too." Michael looked at me like I was crazy. "What are you planning to do?" I honestly didn't know yet, but I knew we couldn't keep living like this. That night, we took turns keeping watch while the others slept. I took the first shift, sitting by my living room window with all the lights off, watching the street below. Around 2 a.m., I spotted a car I recognized, my dad's old Buick. It circled the block 3 times before parking across the street. I took pictures with my phone, then woke Michael. We watched together as our dad sat in his car, just staring up at my building, not approaching, not violating the restraining order technically, just letting us know he was there, watching, waiting. In the morning, I sent the photos to Marcus. He said it was concerning, but not technically a violation since my dad stayed in his car, away from the building. Said to keep documenting everything. Said he'd talk to the detective again. I hung up feeling frustrated. The legal system had limits. Restraining orders were just pieces of paper. They couldn't stop someone determined to hurt you. Jenny and Michael decided to take Lily to a hotel for a few days, somewhere with interior corridors and good security. I helped them pack, hugged them goodbye, promised to check in every few hours. After they left, I sat in my empty apartment feeling strangely calm, like I'd reached some kind of decision point, like I couldn't keep living in this limbo. I called Melissa, told her everything, asked her what she thought I should do. She was quiet for a minute. Then she asked me a question that hit me hard. "What do you actually want from your parents?" Not what I didn't want, not what I was afraid of, but what I actively wanted. I realized I'd never really thought about it that way. After we hung up, I made a list. What I wanted. 1. To live without fear. 2. To have a relationship with my brother and his family. 3. To stop feeling responsible for my parents' actions. 4. To be free of the past. Nowhere on that list was reconciliation with my parents. Nowhere was forgiveness. Nowhere was understanding why they did what they did. I just wanted to be free of them. That afternoon, I did something crazy. I emailed my parents. Just a short message. "I know you're watching my building. I know you're not going to stop. So let's talk. One last time. Tomorrow, noon. The coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me. No police. No lawyers. After that, you leave us all alone forever." I hit send before I could change my mind. I didn't tell Michael or Jenny. Didn't tell Marcus or Melissa. This was something I needed to do myself. For myself. I wasn't naive enough to think my parents would suddenly become reasonable people, but I needed to face them on my terms. Needed to say my piece. Needed to end this cycle once and for all. My dad replied within minutes. Just, "We'll be there." No threats. No guilt trips. Just confirmation. I spent the rest of the day preparing. Not physically. Mentally. Thinking about what I wanted to say. What I needed them to hear. What boundaries I needed to set. I slept surprisingly well that night. Like making a decision had lifted some weight off me. The next morning, I dressed carefully. Not to impress them. Just to feel strong. Confident. I took an Uber to the coffee shop, arriving 15 minutes early. Chose a table in the back corner where I could see the door but wasn't immediately visible from outside. Ordered a coffee I didn't really want. Just sat there, waiting. Surprisingly calm. They arrived exactly at noon. Looking older than they had in court. More tired. My mom spotted me first. Nudged my dad. They walked over slowly, like they were approaching a wild animal that might bolt. Sat down across from me without speaking. We just looked at each other for a long moment. These strangers who were my parents. These people who had shaped me in ways they'd never understand. I spoke first. "I didn't call this meeting to reconcile, or to give you money, or to hear excuses. I called it to make you understand one thing. It's over. You've lost. Not just the court case. You've lost me. Lost Michael. Lost your grandchildren. Lost any chance at being part of our lives. And if you can't accept that, if you keep stalking us, threatening us, trying to force your way back in, I will destroy you." My dad started to interrupt. I held up my hand. "I'm not finished." Then I pulled out my phone, showed them screenshots of all their threatening messages, the photo of Lily, the emails. "I've sent copies to everyone in your lives, your siblings, your church, your neighbors, your employers, everyone. Not yet, but I will if you contact any of us again. If you come near our homes, if you so much as mention our names to anyone we knew." My mom started crying. "We just want our family back. We made mistakes, but we deserve another chance. We're getting older and don't want to die alone." I looked at her for a long moment. "You should have thought about that before abandoning your 17-year-old daughter, before lying to everyone about what you'd done, before breaking into Michael's house, before threatening your own grandchild." My dad got angry then. "You're ungrateful. You've always been difficult. You've turned your brother against us. You owe us for raising you." I just laughed. actually laughed in his face. Do you really think you're entitled to gratitude for doing the bare minimum as a parent for 17 years before abandoning me completely? Do you think your parenting was so stellar that I should be thanking you for it? He didn't have an answer for that, just sat there, red-faced and silent. My mom was still crying, but I felt nothing. No guilt, no sympathy, just a cold clarity that these people were never going to change, never going to take responsibility, never going to be the parents I deserved. I stood up to leave. This is your last warning. Next time you violate the restraining order, I won't just call the police. I'll make sure everyone you know understands exactly what kind of people you really are. I have the resources to make your lives very difficult if you force my hand. I don't want to do that, but I will to protect my family, my real family, Michael, Jenny, Lily, the people I choose. As I walked away, my mom called after me. Do you really hate us that much? I stopped, turned around. I don't hate you. I feel nothing for you. You're strangers to me now, and that's your loss, not mine. I walked out of that coffee shop feeling lighter than I had in years, called Michael from the sidewalk, told him everything. He was upset at first that I'd met them alone, then concerned they might retaliate, but mostly he seemed relieved that someone had finally stood up to them directly, said he wished he'd had the courage to do it years ago. I went back to my apartment, packed a bag, decided to join Michael and his family at their hotel for a few days, just to be safe. When I got there, Lily ran to hug me. "Auntie Emma," she called for the first time. I almost cried. Jenny hugged me too, said she was proud of me, said she hoped I'd finally get some peace. Michael just squeezed my shoulder, no words needed. We spent the next few days in a weird limbo, waiting for my parents to make their next move, checking our phones constantly, jumping at unexpected noises, but nothing happened. No calls, no texts, no emails, no sightings of their car, just silence. After a week, Michael and Jenny decided to go home, changed all their locks again, installed security cameras, made plans to put their house on the market, started looking at places closer to my city. I went back to my apartment too, back to work, back to something like normal life. 2 weeks passed, then a month. Nothing from my parents. Marcus checked in regularly, said the detective had confirmed they'd returned to their home state, said the restraining orders were still in effect, said we should stay vigilant but try to move forward with our lives. Slowly we did. Michael found a new job in my city. Jenny enrolled Lily in preschool. They bought a house 20 minutes from my apartment. We had dinner together every Sunday, started building new traditions, new memories, a new kind of family based on choice rather than obligation. I kept expecting to feel something about my parents, grief maybe, or guilt, or anger, but mostly I felt relief, like I'd finally put down a heavy weight I'd been carrying since I was 17, like I could finally focus on the future instead of the past. 6 months after the coffee shop confrontation, I got a letter, forwarded through Marcus so my address stayed private, from my mom. I almost didn't open it, almost threw it away unread, but curiosity won out. It was short, just a few paragraphs. No excuses this time, no demands, just an acknowledgement that they'd hurt me deeply, that they'd failed as parents, that they understood why I wanted nothing to do with them, that they were getting counseling, that they would respect the restraining orders, that they hoped someday I might be willing to hear a proper apology, but understood if that day never came. I showed it to Michael. He got a similar letter. We talked about it over dinner that night, about whether it was sincere, about whether it changed anything, about whether we could ever trust them again. We didn't reach any conclusions, just agreed to take it one day at a time, to prioritize our healing, to protect the family we were building. I keep the letter in my desk drawer, not because I'm ready to forgive, not because I want reconciliation, but because it represents something important. My parents finally recognizing my right to set boundaries, my right to choose who I allow in my life, my right to define family on my own terms. Last week, Lily had her 4th birthday party. Michael and Jenny invited me to help plan it. We had it at my apartment. Balloons everywhere. A cake I ordered from a fancy bakery. Presents piled on the coffee table. Lily running around in a princess dress, laughing. Jenny taking pictures. Michael grilling on my balcony. Friends stopping by throughout the day. So much noise. So much joy. At one point, I stepped into the kitchen for a moment alone, just watching through the doorway as Michael swung Lily around in circles, as Jenny laughed at something a friend said, as my apartment, once so empty and quiet, filled with life and love. I thought about that note on my kitchen counter 12 years ago. You'll figure it out. And I had. Not the way they meant, but I'd figured out what family should be, what love should look like, what I deserved all along. I'm not saying everything's perfect now. I still have trust issues, still go to therapy every week, still have nightmares sometimes about being abandoned, still flinch when my doorbell rings unexpectedly, but I'm healing. We all are. Building something new from the broken pieces of our past, something stronger, something chosen, something real. Sometimes people ask if I'll ever reconcile with my parents, if I'll ever let them meet Lily, if I'll ever forgive them for what they did. I don't have answers to those questions yet. Maybe someday, maybe never. But what I do know is this. I'm not defined by what they did to me anymore. I'm defined by what I built after, by the person I chose to become, by the family I chose to create, and that's enough.